Hey guys, there was a post made not too long ago on Reddit that was showing some images that apparently were leaked from the Call of Duty 2017 that's going to be made by Sledgehammer. Someone on YouTube had posted a video saying that he got an email from somebody that was anonymous that sent him these images, and they found him through Instagram. He had posted a glitch on Raven the Redwoods, and for some reason it inspired this guy that apparently had inside information to share these images with him. The guy says that these images are legit and from the source, but they cannot say who it is, and all they can say is that they come from someone very close to the project over at Sledgehammer. They sent him 6 images, and 2 of them appear to be posters, and the other 4 look like they're steelbook special editions. All of these images are definitely representing a World War II event called Operation Overlord, where Western allies of World War II launched the largest amphibious invasion in history when they assaulted Normandy, located on the northern coast of France on June 6, 1944. They were going up against German forces who had invaded Europe. There's been lots of discussion whether or not these images are real or not, of course, and they were talking about how there was a movie made called Saving Private Ryan and also a TV series called Band of Brothers. That movie and TV series was based on the Battle of Normandy, where these images appear to be, based, and it's very possible that those images were taken from one of those. I've been watching people's comments on Reddit where this post was made, and nobody's been able to prove that yet. So the question still remains, are these real? And I don't know, but I'm going to show you guys all of the facts, and you guys can decide for yourself. What we do know is that Sledgehammer is making the 2017 Call of Duty, and we know that they're going back to the roots and doing boots on the ground. The roots for Call of Duty are World War II. Back in November in 2014, one of the developers from Sledgehammer was doing an interview with Metro, and it was posted all over the internet, and GameSpot covered it. They said, "Advanced Warfare dev wants another World War II Call of Duty. I think a generation game with the latest production values and robustness in a World War II setting like Band of Brothers would be amazing," Michael Condrey says. If you go over to the Metro interview, this Michael Condrey really goes into detail about why he wants a World War II setting. The guy that was interviewing him was asking him about war settings. He said, "But what about going backwards in time? The Korean War and Vietnam, I guess, would work." He said, "Well, no, it's curious. I can only answer from my own personal taste. This is my own personal opinion, but some of my favorite pieces of entertainment are set in World War II. Band of Brothers. I'm a massive fan of Band of Brothers. Did you see that?" The guy interviewing him answered and said no, and Michael said, "Really? But I think it's well recognized as a great production, and I'm sure you've seen Saving Private Ryan." And the guy says, "Oh yes," and then Michael says, "And that's a great hero's war, kind of the last that we recognize as a noble cause in a war. So yeah, I think the next generation game with the latest production values and robustness in a World War II setting like Band of Brothers would be amazing." Now, how it would play and how would the multiplayer work after the new movement set in Advanced Warfare, that's a tougher question that I've had to tackle yet. Seems like the announcement of the boots on the ground was the answer for this problem that he was talking about here. And right here he was answering why wouldn't you go back to Vietnam setting or something like that, and he said, "I remember one of the very first meetings we had when we started Sledgehammer 5 years ago, and we were meeting with the Call of Duty franchise, and they always talked about it being exactly that. It's about a squad with a hero's journey, like a noble cause. On a global level, it wasn't viewed as a noble cause necessarily, so how do you really capture that essence of a narrative that's built around the greater good?" He goes on to talk about how he would watch these television shows and get really attached to some of the characters, and that's what made him love the shows, and that's what he wanted to bring to the next Call of Duty. He wanted a war setting that would bring nobility and honor and make us fall in love with the characters, and it seems like the Battle of Normandy offers that setting. So this interview was over 2.5 years ago, so this information has been out there, and now you've got Sledgehammer announcing that they're going back to the roots and they're going to have boots on the ground. So it definitely seems possible that this leak information is correct about what Call of Duty 2017 is going to be like. But there's also a flip side to that, and it seems like these images could be fake. It's possible someone with some graphics talent has, seen this interview and they heard about the roots and boots and they, put this all together based on that. Or it's legitimate, the graphics are real, but they could be concept graphics because they look really poorly done. And let me show you what I'm talking about. This first image, you can tell that guy that's the focal point is definitely a drawing. He looks kind of weird and it doesn't look very well done, so it could be like concept art. Another thing I have a problem with is the inconsistencies on the bind of the steelbooks. If you look at those, and I've got it lined up right here, the Call of Duty is exactly the same on both of these binds, but the World War II is all different. One of them is a lot smaller and also a lot closer. One of the binds that looks really different is the eagle eye view of them, running up on the beach. And you can tell that the World War II is really small and kind of crammed up against the Call of Duty. And there is no room for a trademark symbol right there. And that's another problem that I have. You can't really see trademark symbols on the binds, and there definitely are trademark symbols on the other binds if you look at those graphics that are legit. I also have a problem with one of the steelbook covers where the helmet of one of the soldiers does not match up at all. If you look at the bind, that center part of the helmet is raised up a lot, and normally that would be lined up if this was professionally done. The backpack on that soldier is lined up, so everything else should line up as well. So to me, it just looks really sloppy. And I could be wrong. They could be doing something like concept art here where they just do it half-assed, but to me, I think it's amateur and I think it's faked. Another huge giveaway is calling it World War II. Like, come on. That is so like what somebody trying to fake something with no imagination would call it. And I will fully apologize to Sledgehammer if that is what they end up calling it. But yeah, it's not very creative. I'm sure they're going to go with something a little bit different than that. Another thing you have to consider is that there are hundreds and hundreds of documentaries that cover this D-Day, this Battle of Normandy, and some of them have really good graphics that they could have been taken from. I'm sure there's indie games with concept art that could be out there somewhere that's not been too publicized. In my opinion, it seems like all the facts are leaning more towards like these graphics are fake, but I don't doubt that they're going to do this setting with, World War II and, focus on Normandy. If that's true and they do a zombies mode, what could that mean for us? This game would be based on a war against Nazi Germany. Activision wants to do whatever sells the best, and they know that the zombies co-op mode has always done the best. They know that Treyarch does really well, and they know that people like their storyline, like where it started. Is it possible that Sledgehammer is going to try to emulate, Treyarch and do this like Nazi zombie storyline? They may not be able to do like the whole Nazi with the swastikas and stuff like that, because in Germany, they don't allow that. They only allow that if it's part of something that's representing history and not for like gaming or entertainment purposes. But that's my guess, and maybe it seems obvious that they're going to do zombies and do a World War II setting. But let me know what you guys think about this. I'm going to do a poll on my Twitter to see if you guys think these images are real or fake, and I'll have that link down in the description. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you next video.